By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Given those two choices, yes. In the best of all possible worlds, they would just leave us in peace. But they won't. I don't enjoy killing, but when done righteously, it's just a chore, like any other. Practiced hands make for short work, and the good Lord knows there's much to be done here. I and the dead horses are prepared to do what must be done to protect Zion from the Whitelegs. And though Daniel won't accept it yet, there are many sorrows who are also prepared. They may not be warriors, but this is their home. If you have a chance to speak with Daniel about this, ask him to consider defending Zion instead of abandoning it.
I appreciate it. Well, that's it. This is all we need. Now all that's left is to quietly pack up and try to get out of here without being noticed. That's assuming that Joshua won't try to stop me. And that he hasn't talked you into fighting the Whitelegs despite what I've said. Don't worry, I don't hold it against you. You're an outsider. Fighting seems like the practical solution. I'll tell you again. There's more at stake. No. Why? Why? Haven't you seen enough of what's going on here to see that the Sorrows don't need to butcher the Whitelegs for a piece of land? What Joshua wants is more than an attack. He wants a slaughter. And he needs more than you and the dead horses to do it. The Sorrows can't be pushed into this. You and Joshua don't have the right to force them into it. Please, consider what I'm saying. I've already explained to them that we're leaving. They've accepted it. What is Joshua going to tell them about being a warrior? What are you going to tell them about how to live with themselves after they got lost in the moment, killed someone who didn't deserve to die? Or does that not matter? Is that just an acceptable consequence if it means holding on to this valley? Maybe there is no place left in this world for mercy. But even if it tramples me into the dust, I will never accept it. And I will never condone it.
Thank you for this. I know Daniel doesn't approve, but destroying the Whitelegs is the only way to ensure the Sorrows can remain in Zion. You and I will lead a group of Dead Horse warriors and Sorrows hunters into 3 Marys from this position. Our objective is to find the Whitelegs' leader, Salt Upon Wounds, and prevent him from fleeing. Show no quarter to the Whitelegs we come across. Make no mistake about why we are here. This is an extermination. God be with you.
And with that, our war against the Whitelegs has reached its peak. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Today we're going to be covering 3 Marys. This location becomes central to the plot of the game if you choose to make the Sorrows fight the Whitelegs. The other option is to side with Daniel and to help the Sorrows evacuate from Zion Valley. For the sake of this series and my own personal preference, I decided to side with Joshua Graham and to have the Sorrows stay and fight. And with that, we have to begin our trek across Zion Valley with Joshua Graham to 3 Marys. Now, a real quick note, 3 Marys is a real-world location. It's based on the real-world 3 Marys, a rock formation within Zion National Park. As we make our way to 3 Marys, we will find various Whitelegs throughout Zion Valley that we will have to fight and kill, but with Joshua Graham at our side, it's actually a lot easier than it has been before. Joshua Graham is a very overpowered companion, and it's a big shame that you can't have him follow you to the Mojave or you can't have them for longer during this DLC. I actually found out there were some white legs by the body of Randall Clark, so I killed him and decided to pay Randall Clark one last visit before we end this DLC. And I looked inside Randall Clark's bag one more time, and I found some scotch, and I decided to go ahead and take this scotch and to take a sip out of respect for our friend Randall Clark. His story is truly incredible and makes Honest Hearts just an incredible DLC, in my opinion. So, here's one for Randall Clark. Now, here on the Pip-Boy, you can see the location of Three Marys. Now, this is just a long canyon with a river running through it, and it's actually quite near the beginning of the game. However, Three Marys Cave is not a discoverable location yet, and the very back of the canyon is not accessible until we start the quest. As we begin to make our way through the winding canyon, the rain will slowly begin to stop, setting the scene for a truly epic battle between the Dead Horses, Sorrows, and the White Legs. Now, this battle can be a bit difficult. I actually died during the very final battle because it was more difficult than I anticipated. So definitely make sure you're ready with ammunition, weapons, and some healing items. But the very beginning of Three Marys I actually found to be quite easy, because not only do you have Joshua Graham at your side, but you also have various Sorrows and Dead Horses at your side as well, making these encounters at the very beginning very easy, because usually the White Legs are distracted by other NPCs and they don't even attack you. So I didn't lose any health during the first part of this battle. Now, obviously, you want to loot and get whatever ammunition you can get. There were some ammunition crates and some minor loot along my journey through this winding canyon. However, I didn't find anything of major significance that was really worth pointing out. Just be on the lookout for small loot as you make your way through the canyon. After you pass through this small arch, there will be an explosion, and the canyon will become blocked by rocks. From here, Joshua Graham will separate from you, and you're pretty much on your own now for a large portion of this final battle, making it more difficult. Joshua Graham will go around the collapsed rock. Meanwhile, the player has to go through Three Marys Cave. We just walk across this rock bridge, and then we can find Three Marys Cavern, and here it is on the minimap. As we enter the cavern, there will be 3 white legs inside, and these white legs have a lot of health. I was trying to use the survivalist rifle, and it was somewhat challenging to kill them off quickly, and they could deal a decent amount of health. In this cave alone, I lost about half of my health, and keep in mind, I have pretty good armor, and I'm a level 50. So if I was a lower level, I do think this would be a significant challenge, but I've already reached the end game as far as my player progression is concerned. After killing off all of the white legs inside the cavern, you can kind of loot around. There is some decent loot inside, mainly in this medical box. I found some stim packs, which was a very welcome gift. Also up here, there are some ammunition crates along with a footlocker and an explosives crate, so you might as well see what's inside. However, as I mentioned earlier, I never found anything of major significance, but I just found really small items that were kind of worth looting. As we exit Three Marys Cave, you come out to the other side of the collapsed rock, and this area has some things of interest. Now, throughout Three Marys, there's all kinds of junk and litter all about, which is unlike the rest of Zion Valley, kind of demonstrating the carelessness of the White Legs. If we make our way to the top of the cliff here, we can find a tripwire along with a small camp. Now, there's no clear indication of who ever owned this camp. However, it does have some similarities to some of the camps we find with Randall Clark because of the traps. And then there was a grenade bouquet that actually fell, and it almost killed me because I triggered the pressure plate. Down below, there is another camp, this one obviously belonging to the White Legs. I went down to see if I could find any loot, but I didn't find anything of interest, just a bunch of junk. As I made my way further through the canyon, I was actually kind of surprised that it was a rather peaceful stroll. Just another abandoned White Legs camp. Here I found hangers. I was really shocked because I never really noticed like a clothes hanger in Fallout before, but here were some. I don't know what purpose they were being used for, perhaps just hanging up clothes. But from the top of this camp, you got some very beautiful views of the night sky and the canyon. Eventually, though, I did run into some more white legs, and I thought I had a height advantage, high ground and all of that. However, my skills are not the same as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I was lit on fire by some really amazing throws from this white leg. Seriously, he was throwing some serious dimes, freaking Patrick Mahomes over here. Continuing our way through the canyon, there will be a lot of white legs, but after a short while, we will meet up again with some sorrows and dead horses. And we can see the dead horses here are burning the bodies. Also, while you make your way through here, you will see various executions being performed by the dead horses. Up on this cliff, there's this really weird, small crevice in this kind of random space. Don't know why it's there, what purpose it would ever serve, but I just thought I'd point it out because this is the Unexplored Mojave. Then there is the final push of white legs. And these white legs were actually pretty easy to deal with because I had my sorrow and dead horse friends. As they pushed my friends, I just kind of came from behind and a flank, and taking them out was pretty easy, but I almost committed friendly fire, which would have been big sad. Thankfully, I did not. And after killing the white horses here, we can make our way to the back of the canyon, where we can find that Joshua Graham has already beaten us to the punch. And as I mentioned earlier, I actually died during this final fight. You don't actually have to fight it out, you can execute them, but I thought it'd be more fun to fight.
We warned you at Syracuse, and you persisted. You took advantage of us at New Canaan to drive us out. And like the dogs of Caesar you are, you followed us to Zion. And now you stand on holy ground, a temple to God's glory on earth. The only use for an animal in our temple is sacrifice. Kale wachane conserva o. You understand me, don't you? Don't you?
Outman. Kunaman mad. He killed all white legs. You talk. You stop. You can no need.
The first time I did this fight, I didn't really realize that the other white horses would come up. One of them is equipped with an anti-material rifle, and that deals a ton of damage. I tried using the survivalist rifle, however, it just was too ineffective, and I switched to the riot shotgun, an absolute beast of a weapon. And with that, I was able to eventually take out Salt Upon Wounds. However, this dude has a lot of health, kind of a bullet monkey, but I was finally able to kill him, ending the DLC.
Same end he would have met if he had died on his knees. But I suppose this was for the sake of the dead horses and sorrows. Still, thanks to your help and the grace of God, the Whitelegs won't be troubling Zion anymore. Let's go find Daniel. Tomorrow we'll be here soon enough, and there is much to do.
And I'll put the ending slides for this DLC at the end of the video, so if you guys want to see what happened in my playthrough, you can check it out there. Upon finishing the main quest, we will spawn just outside the southern entrance, and there will be a footlocker with all kinds of goodies inside of it. Definitely make sure to take all of these goodies back with you to the Mojave, as you can really pimp out your character upon your return to New Vegas. Alright guys, I think that concludes our journey in Zion Valley. I had a lot of fun covering Honest Hearts and making this section of the Unexplored Mojave. There's only one more DLC to cover in Fallout New Vegas, and we will definitely get there, but there are still a lot of things that I would like to cover in the main New Vegas area, so we will definitely be getting to those places as well. And once you are ready, we just simply go through the Northern Passage Cave, and we can return to New Vegas. I have to say, I was actually quite happy to be back to New Vegas. It really kind of does feel like home, and seeing the Lucky 38 again definitely gave me a warm feeling. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Unexplored Mojave. If you have any recommendations for the next video, please post them in the comment section below. And, as always, until next time.
And so it was that the conflict between the New Canaanites and the Whitelegs was finally resolved. The courier's involvement had tipped the scale, shifting the fragile balance of power.
Despite their defeat at Three Marys and the death of their war chief, the Whitelegs were determined to pursue the other New Canaanites. But when they finally tracked down their prey in Colorado, they discovered the tables had been turned. The Whitelegs who survived the New Canaanites' ambushes were hunted down by dead horses before they could reach the safety of the Great Salt Lake. When word of the Whitelegs' diminished numbers reached the 80s tribe, war was declared, and by year's end, the Whitelegs had been wiped out.
The Sorrows fought beside Joshua Graham and the dead horses, eradicating the threat the Whitelegs posed to Zion. When the courier and Joshua Graham felled Salt upon Wounds, their victory was celebrated with a great feast. The Sorrows' transformation from a peaceful, timid tribe into a proud and warlike people broke Daniel's heart. He tried to take solace in the knowledge that they would remain in Zion, but it was a small comfort. The Sorrows' innocence was lost.
Having helped eradicate the Whitelegs from Zion, the dead horses returned to Dead Horse Point in triumph. They remained neutral toward the Sorrows, but as years went on, there were periods of competitive friction, even violence between the tribes. The New Canaanites, Daniel especially, intervened regularly as mediators, but found it difficult to reconcile the tribes' conflicts.
The defeat of the Whitelegs in Zion marked a turning point in the fortunes of the Happy Trails Caravan Company. Every 2 months, the caravan met with the New Canaanites in Zion Valley to trade. Happy Trails soon returned to prosperity. The vigilance of the Sorrows and dead horses in defending southwestern Utah, initially startling to Happy Trails caravans, soon proved a blessing. The tribes united against the 80s, driving them back from Highway 50, and thus opening yet another trading route for Happy Trails caravans.
Though the courier had stopped Joshua Graham from executing Salt upon Wounds, the war chief still fell in battle. The Whitelegs defeated at Three Marys. Joshua led the Sorrows and dead horses in tending to their comrades and burning the corpses of their foes. He continued to advocate militant opposition to the enemies of New Canaan and showed little quarter to those he fought. And yet he was changed. He no longer reveled in the brutality and cruelty for which he had been known in his former life. His inner demons, if not extinguished, were at the least appeased.
For years after the defeat of the Whitelegs, Daniel did his best to minister to the Sorrows' spiritual needs. Try as he might, he could not hold back the tribe's increasing militancy and reverence of Joshua Graham. Demoralized, he returned to his family and Dead Horse Point. His failures haunted him for the rest of his days.
And with that, the courier walked out of the history of the tribes of Zion and back to the gathering storm of the Mojave wasteland.